We have to talk about it because it's trending everywhere. I posted it up on my community post under Legion of Men, excuse me. And are you tired of winning yet? Are you tired of winning? I don't mean the MAGA types. You voted for somebody and they let you down. This is not what you voted for. Legitimately, what it looked like in the beginning, I feel for you guys. Here's what it looked like in the beginning. A coalition was being built. There was ex-Democrats, centrists, progressives, and Republicans, and non-rhino Republicans, the new MAGA Republicans, and they all formed a coalition. And what they were running on was actually incredible. We wanted America to be healthy again. We wanted America to be great again. We wanted to tariff other countries. We wanted mass deportations. We wanted, the rule of law to be instituted. We didn't want any more woke crap in schools. We wanted to empower parents. And we wanted to get out of the debt that we're under as a nation, the insane spending. We wanted a lot of things. And that's what the administration ran on. And then somehow, some way, month after month after month, it seems like the promises that were made were not promises kept. We've gotten little crumbs here and there. For example, mass deportations are not mass at all. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, there's going to be mass amnesty for hospice workers, those farmers that are picking the very basics. Where is it here? I have it here somewhere. Can't find it. Okay. But people in hospitality, people in farming, things like that will get mass amnesty because the business community is getting absolutely destroyed. So fine. We can't have it, yeah? Okay. Then he ran on the Epstein list, and that was a big deal. He even said himself, release the files, all this stuff. Pam Bondi, we're going to get those files. We're going to have, Patel at the FBI with me there at the helm. I'm going to fix the FBI, make them impartial, make them fight crime again, not picking on Americans. Dan Bongino went over there, and we thought, okay, cool, this is like a dream team. We're all going to get some justice here for those children, but justice for everything else that the previous administration was doing. Okay. So many other things that the administration promised is starting to blow up, and in a horrible way too. So I'll play this video and then we'll go do a deeper dive into this. But
this is truly unusual breaking news. The breaking news is animation. Sometimes the news is big, significant, serious. This one is unusual. A major escalation in what is increasingly a kind of political, quiet, peaceful civil war, but a civil war of political proportions.
No, it's a bipartisan issue. The left and the right want to see the Epstein files because we want PEDs to go to prison. We do not want criminals in our government. We do not want criminals protected in our government. We don't want to use any files to wring people's arms and blackmail heads of other state and all that. We want it all exposed. We want to see who the creepers are. Why do we want that? Because we want to govern cleanly in a moral way. We don't want to protect criminal organizations of the nastiest, most disgusting degree that you could ever imagine, child diddlers. We don't. It's that simple.
For MAGA over these Epstein files, and it's roiling the Trump administration at quite literally the highest levels. Sources detailing the ongoing clash over a fight that could cost someone their job. Trump's Attorney General Pam Bondi clashing with the FBI number 2 official Dan Bongino. As everybody who follows these kind of stories knows, technically, the AG oversees the FBI. But if you remember Comey or other strong-willed FBI officials, when you're at that number 1, number 2 level, they sometimes fight with the DOJ. Sources say Bongino is so upset about all this, he's saying maybe he'll just leave, which would be a very quick tenure, by the way. And he would be leaving in a sort of protest or criticism of Bondi's handling of the Epstein files. Other outside agitators, including Tucker Carlson, saying she's lost confidence. Maybe she has to go. He was not at work today, reportedly. Sources also say Bondi and Bongino got into a heated clash Wednesday in a high-level meeting with him, her, FBI Director Patel, and Donald Trump's number 1 person who tracks all this stuff and makes the big staffing decisions, Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, who, of course, also ran the Victoria's campaign. Axios has a report on this where Pam says her piece, Dan says his piece, didn't end on friendly terms. Bongino left angry. And you don't need to be a scholar of reporting or Watergate level intrigue to know somebody in this small meeting is leaking this stuff to Axios if it's true. A source close to Bongino is saying he ain't coming back.
But it looks like he may be. I know Kash Patel just dropped a message, actually. It was a Twitter post or an X post. He said the conspiracy theories just aren't true, never have been. It's an honor to serve the President of the United States, and I'll continue to do so for as long as he calls on me. And that is after he got called in to the White House to have some sort of meeting, because what happened was Trump posted this giant post.
Epstein story, it's the double down right here on Truth Social.
And he got ratioed hard on Truth Social. Well, what did he write? As you can see on the screen, let me pull it up on my own phone. It is incredible that this is absolutely happening. I had the post here. It says, the party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. 1984, you guys. And he wrote, what's going on with my boys and in some cases gals, as you can see it on the screen. This is absolutely incredible to me, the deflection. After Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's doing a fantastic job, we're on one team, MAGA. And I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration. The talk of Jeffrey Epstein, or so, the talk of the world. Okay. The talk of the world, and selfish people are trying to hurt it, all over a guy who never dies. Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama? He's blaming the Democrats. Crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration who conned the world with the Russia hoax. We're deflecting now, okay? And the laptop from hell and more and all this stuff. He says, why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? Maybe because you're all in it. Maybe. Allegedly, right? Every one of you on both sides of the aisle. If there was anything in there, they could have hurt the MAGA movement. Why didn't they use it? Also, why don't you release it? That's not an excuse, right? Why don't you just release the files? Because you've confirmed, at least Pam Bondi has, that the files were on her desk. That's what's so weird about this. Right? No matter how much success we've had securing the border, deporting criminals, only certain people are getting deported. Not everybody, because you want to give them amnesty. Right? Fixing the economy, energy dominance, a safer world where Iran will not have nuclear weapons because we bombed a sovereign nation. The no-war president that Netanyahu said deserves a Pulitzer Peace Prize, right? Can you imagine? And says we're saving our country, making America great again. Yada, yada, yada. You could look at this tweet yourself. We don't have to go through it all, but I think CoffeeZilla here breaks it.
Desecration. But today it goes...
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Come on,
it just seems like a desecration.
But today it goes a step further. Quick context. There's been a lot of infighting in the Republican Party over basically who's at fault for the giant botch of the Epstein files, with the majority of Republicans not wanting to believe that.
Yeah, that's a great. Why is Ghislaine, what's her name? Ghislaine Maxwell, whatever they want to call her. Why is she in prison for a victimless crime? She trafficked nobody to nobody. Does that make any fucking sense to anybody? Ghislaine, there you go. Thank you. Ghislaine Kane. Appreciate it. Ghislaine Maxwell trafficked nobody to nobody and is facing how many years in prison? Weird.
That Trump himself was against the full release, but rather that he was sort of tricked into not releasing the Epstein files by one of his lackeys. But today, Donald Trump came out and basically backed Pam Bondi, saying they're all going after Pam Bondi, who's doing a fantastic job all over a guy.
Is Pam Bondi doing a fantastic job? Ones or twos in the chat? Ones, yes. Twos and no. Please, anybody here think, any arrest in general, please. Give me twos, ones for yes, twos for no. If anybody legitimately is impartial and just says, like, hey, Pam Bondi, so far in the administration, has she done a good job? Where are all the arrests we were promised? I see a singular one and nothing but twos. So nobody. And he's getting ratioed on his own Truth Social. Everybody in their posts, in his response to that tweet you saw, everybody's cooking the president. That's the first post he's ever made where he's getting ratioed hard.
Who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Democrats who In fact, some of the people who want this the most are people on the right, even on Truth Social. Obviously, a hugely Trump-favored place. Everybody is saying, no, this is unacceptable. You have to release the files. Later in the post, Trump also says that these are radical left-inspired documents and to not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. But actually, we all do care about it. You know who doesn't actually want this out? The elites. That's why they've never done it. That's why it was a compelling pitch when Donald Trump hinted to his base that maybe he was going to release the files. People largely didn't trust the job that Biden had done. That's why it was a compelling story. So the idea now that it was Biden and Obama who invented the Epstein files is absolutely preposterous. They don't want that out either. And maybe that's because, as a producer of 60 Minutes alleged, Ghislaine Maxwell implied that there were tapes on Trump and also tapes on Clinton. You know who else said it? Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, saying Epstein said, "What I know about both candidates, the 2016 election would have to be canceled." So this whole idea that this is a left or right thing, it's not. It's the elites. Anybody who was on...
I've told you guys since the very beginning, this is class warfare. Left, or I should say red or blue, they don't care about you. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody believes it. They all think it's like, whatever, bro. Whoever you vote for, they help themselves first. You left. Do you think the big, beautiful bill helped you again? There's a conspiracy theory going around. Excuse me. Tell me if you've heard this. The conspiracy theory is that somehow Trump got a hold of the list, and that's what he used as leverage on all these congressmen to get the bill passed. And he's playing some 4D chess. This is Maximum Cope I'm reading from the most ardent supporters, that he's leveraging the black book Epstein had in order to get the big, beautiful bill passed and a bunch of other legislation. When you're able to twist something in that way with your diehard zealot support, there's nothing you can tell some of these people. So somebody, look, we have them in the comments. That actually makes sense. If that makes sense, then why was the big, beautiful bill basically benefiting rich people only? If you've actually looked at the bill, you understand that most normal people, the average American, is going to get fucked from the big, beautiful bill overall, on top of our entire government that is going to be in debt to the tune of trillions on top of. Talk to me, guys. If he really did have dirt on everybody, why aren't things passing easier for him? Why does he have so much friction with, let's just say, activist judges? Why doesn't he just absolutely just, net? It's nothing but net on everything he's proposing. It doesn't make sense. You can't say you used it to blackmail them into passing the big, beautiful bill, but then also you're meeting Netanyahu at the office like 30 million times, and then also you had to bomb Iran, and then you also had to do other things that were against your exact voter base. That's causing friction in MAGA itself. You're burning down your own movement by not releasing the thing people want. You're burning down your own movement by potentially starting wars or conflicts. What else did MAGA not want, guys? Rearming Ukraine. Do you know what we're doing right now? Please. Seriously. I'll put this up for you guys right here. Trump's sudden shift on weapons. He mentioned this earlier.
Mr. President, you want to send more weapons to Ukraine, as you said last night. Last week, the Pentagon paused some shipments of weapons to Ukraine. Did you approve of that pause?
We want to put defensive weapons because Putin is not treating human beings right. He's killing too many people. So we're sending...
I want you guys to remember, MAGA, were we not promised, please, 24 hours, I'll end this war. I know Putin. He's a good friend. I know Zelensky. He wants to make a deal. I can make a deal with these guys. Biden is weak. This war wouldn't have happened under me. And then I'll end it within 24 hours. How did we go from that to, I'm going to rearm Ukraine? Come on, guys. Think about this. We're going to rearm Ukraine? Really? Really?
Some defensive weapons to Ukraine, and I've approved that.
So who ordered the pause last week?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
I think that's a question for the Pentagon.
He's upset.
You said in an interview this...
Come on, man. Does this make any sense to you guys?
Isaac sent $10. I've been looking historical things in America's past and I've come to agree with you, Bo. Red or blue doesn't matter.
Thanks, Isaac. It's 100% them versus us, and it's always been that way. And that's why the messaging always hurts the poor. And that's why every single president you get after voting reneges on the campaign trail promises. And that's why things always get harder for you. Cost of living keeps increasing. The debt keeps on rising. The dollar keeps getting debased. Our money keeps going overseas. Your jobs get shipped overseas. Corporations keep getting richer. They post record profits. The fiduciary duties for the investors always trump what the worker needs or wants. And CEOs, the ratio of pay compared to average employees keeps rising at 300 plus to 1 ratio now. Come on. People are dying here. People are starving here. People are struggling. People are ending up homeless. People don't have money for fucking groceries. And you're telling me that we're winning and that red or blue, somebody's winning here, you're getting helped, life's getting better for you under any administration, right? Has it really? Or are we kicking the can down the road? Do you want to know the most oppressive tax you could possibly have? It's government printing money. It's called the debt ceiling. Everything else is all political theater. Until we can crush the debt issue in this country and stop issuing all these dollars, nothing will change. Your life will get harder under Trump. Things will become more expensive. The dollar loses value every single year. Do you know why they keep printing dollars? And they're not backed by any hard asset. They keep printing money, inflating the debt to show economic growth. The numbers are fucking cooked. We're done for. Oh my God, bro, we're not taxing your tips. As if that makes up for the fact that you just printed so much fucking money that even the money I get to keep from no tax, tips, or overtime will not be enough with the runaway inflation we're dealing with. If you don't stop the printing, you won't stop the inflation. Doesn't matter how much money you get to keep. It's worthless. You can't buy anything. You understand how this works? You understand why it feels so oppressive? Because they turned your money into shit. You can wipe your ass with it.
On that plane, anybody who was associated with Epstein, seen with Epstein, even if they did nothing wrong, they don't want that out. Everyone who wasn't seen with Epstein, wasn't on that plane, of course, they all want the files out. And what's interesting is obviously the Trump administration has sort of played footsie with this idea for a long time, playing to their base. They know this is a big issue. They had the influencers stand out there with a bunch of released material. But we also showed clips of Donald Trump implying that maybe Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew were doing bad things on the island.
Bill Clinton.
Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island. That island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew.
So consistently, Trump has hinted that maybe these guys were involved with Epstein. Maybe it was bad. But turns out all these guys knew each other and knew Epstein. We know this in part from a Piers Morgan interview where he talks to a lady who went to a dinner party with Trump, Clinton, Epstein, and Prince Andrew.
Extraordinary collection of very high-powered people. How did they all interact with Epstein? How did Trump, Clinton, and Prince Andrew interact with him?
Everyone was very, very pally with him. You know, it was like there was close bonds. You could see that.
So these guys knew each other, apparently had dinner parties together, all of them together. Trump later accuses two of the guys of doing bad things. And then when we release the files, can we release the files? Well, no, actually, no, we can't do that. Nobody cares about that.
Those guys totally diddled kids. I didn't diddle any kids, but those disgusting people diddled kids. Now, about that list, we've investigated and there's nothing in there. It's a conspiracy. It's actually Democrats who did it. It's all fake. Move on. I closed the border. I gave you no tax on tips. Can you get over it already? Can you see why people are upset? And the left is like, got what you voted for? You got what you voted for. But what they won't tell you is that no, actually, none of the MAGA got what they voted for.
Ivy Intia sent $4.99. Fell for it again and again and again award. Fell for it 50x. The way they're running circles around you all, you'd think this was track and field.
Yeah. I think this is great, dude. It's accelerating the process where we need to be arriving as a civilization, understanding that this nation is corrupt and that both parties are shit and they're ran by people who don't have your interest at heart, but interest of special interest in corporations. That's their masters. That's who they serve. And our country got sold out decades ago, and we're dealing with the repercussions of money in politics, and it will not change until we somehow start a third party. And as crazy as Elon is with his H-1B super group, third party for America, you know, it is what it is. What other option do we have? Who else do we have? We have to start somewhere and start siphoning votes away from the two-party system. There's no way after all this has happened that you could defend this in any way anymore. There's no way, man. Jeez.
The reason why seems obvious. Epstein knew Prince Andrew. Yes. He knew Bill Clinton. Yes. But he also knew Donald Trump. And recently tapes were released of Epstein talking and calling Donald Trump his closest friend.
So how do you know this? Donald's closest friend.
So it makes intuitive sense to distance yourself.
Listen. They got him on recording. Jeff Epstein said I was Donald's closest friend for 10 years, guys. 10 years. Of course you want to distance yourself from this guy. 10 years. You knew this dude. You don't think you had intimate knowledge knowing somebody for 10 years in the halls of power like that? That what they were doing, what was going on? Come on, man. You really, you have to have your head buried in the sand and just pretend that this is not happening. Just pretend that this isn't a problem.
So it makes intuitive sense to distance yourself from files that may or may not have your name in it, and even distance yourself from the people involved. It's worth stating Trump actually denied knowing Prince Andrew.
I don't know Prince Andrew.
Of course, this was immediately debunked by photos showing the two together. And of course, showing that they clearly knew each other as of 2000. Now, the reason you would deny knowing Prince Andrew, even though you did, is obvious. At the time, he was facing allegations related to Epstein. By the way, allegations that now are basically over. Prince Andrew is very happy about us dropping the Epstein probe. A source for The Sun said he's only been abroad once since the scandal erupted. Prince Andrew has always been very nervous about going abroad and always looking over his shoulder, as he should be, in my opinion. But now he's very happy because the guy who never met him but was photographed with him in 2000 just ended the investigation. Now, I have to say, Trump's...
Are they even trying? Like, this is the sloppiest op I've ever seen in my life. Like, this is the worst cover-up possible. It's like a 5-year-old was like, come up with a game plan. Kid, how are we going to cover this up? I know. Just pretend you don't know him. Just say you looked into it and nothing happened. And slop. It's slop. Yeah, really? Is anybody here buying this shit with half a brain functioning? Unreal.
Been pretty consistent on the fact he has no interest in releasing the Epstein files in full. He said this multiple times. The reason most people have sort of a false memory of this, the reason it's sort of a Mandela effect that he campaigned on the idea of releasing the Epstein files is because Fox News released a deceptively edited clip where they cut out the part where he said, yeah, I'll probably release the Epstein files. And they cut out the part where then he backtracks on that completely.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
And that's the part most of us saw. Of course, later, people found out that the full clip showed him saying basically the opposite.
Yes, I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
We also have Bill O'Reilly on News Nation saying he just talked to Trump back on St. Patrick's Day, and Trump basically said the same thing.
He said, and I agree, there are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct. They maybe had lunch with him or maybe had...
Come on, man.
Eric Z sent $9.99. Bo, thank you for putting out good content and guiding men to become better within themselves. Keep up the good fight, brother. Keep exposing all their BS.
Appreciate you, brother, for the support. Thank you for tuning in. I'm trying.
Some correspondence for one thing or another. If that name gets out, those people are destroyed because it's not going to.
Well, you were hanging out with a pet. I'm sorry if I don't feel anything for mega rich people that were hanging around with a well-known pet and that maybe your name will be tarnished because you were hanging around with a pet. Sorry if I don't give a singular fuck about your reputation being destroyed for hanging out with a guy everybody knew was doing what he was doing. All the powerful people. Why else would he have all these powerful people around him? Right? Networking, bros, networking. Exactly. It's just, we were at some, business meetings and we had these events and he was there and we just took a picture and I totally didn't know him for 10 years. He was my good friend. Oh, fuck, the leaked voice call, him saying directly that he was my best. Fuck, that was fake. AI did that. That was fake, just like, the FBI, we've released the full footage of the night he did some stuff to himself, and there's a minute missing that was exported by, Premiere Pro 4 different fucking times and edited. Don't worry about that part, though. This is the raw footage. Nothing happened. Trust us. Okay, bro.
Be any context. Media doesn't care about context, so you can't do that.
So over and over, we've seen the same answer from the president. Not the fact that, oh, no, the Epstein files, it's a lefty conspiracy. No, actually, it's the worry that people in the files are going to have their lives destroyed by the files. That sounds a lot more like covering for the people in the files than it does covering the victims.
Yeah, insanity. Forget Epstein. Go back to being divided on every issue, America. There's nothing to unite about. Yeah. Don't stop. Please don't stop. Everybody. You need to talk about this. If only a few creators were talking about this, oh boy, would they try to shut it down. And I've already seen them try to shut this down. He has a video here that he got dinged for this. He called it the worst cover-up in his lifetime. Check this out. It literally comes with a warning. Let's see. Oh, he got it down.
The worst cover-up of my lifetime.
A lot of information.
Okay, he got it fixed. There's a bunch of videos earlier from multiple channels that were getting the self-delete hotline. And I know for a fact that when your video gets tagged with that, they demonetize it. So it's good that he managed to get that removed. Okay. So they're trying to actively suppress and ding channels talking about this very topic. That's what's crazy. But okay. Okay, I digress.